Did you know that honey packs, aka gas station pills, what you can get real quick as a performance booster, is actually destroying your ED? We'll continue watching this video to find exactly why it is and what you can do about it. Now, I've gone over 500 plus days on NoFap and even cured my corn-induced ED, aka PIED. In today's video, we got to break down why honey packs are not it. Now, the first point we have to discuss is think about society and where we've gone with this, right? I was watching an interview which kind of sparked this. It was a clip from an interview where a guy was saying that he takes a honey pack every single time before he gets intimate with someone else. And I said, this is insane, right? And a lot of people, you even watching this are maybe familiar with it or have used them before, and it's like, there's something wrong, right? Why is it that, especially, of course, men of all ages, but even younger men nowadays are dealing with this and have to rely on an external, basically supplement almost that in order to just be able to perform, which is something that they should be able to do naturally, and many generations of men have been able to perform naturally even before them, right? So we got to look at the big picture and say, man, there is something absolutely wrong with this. Now, number two is you have to realize that just relying on something external to improve your performance, and let's use the real term of what it is, right? This is not really improving. What you're doing is you're putting a band-aid on the actual problem, right? Because if you're using something external to try to improve a situation, the thing is, it will never cure you in the long run, right? The purpose of using these things is to put a band-aid on the actual problem. And the thing is, what a lot of people do is they won't worry about or try to fix the underlying issue. And all that they'll do is focus on this outward performance, right? They say, okay, I just want to improve my performance. And they continue to take these, these kind of unknown substances to try to improve. Now, if you didn't know, right, honey packs, they have things in them that come from, Viagra and Cialis. So some ingredients that come from both, right? But one of the biggest problems in me even thinking about this is, do we really know what's in it, right? And I was doing some more research on these just these performance enhancers, and the truth is they're not FDA regulated, right? And you can say what you want about the FDA. Of course, people are going to have their own opinions. And if you're learning something new from this video and getting value, please hit the like button. We're trying to grow the channel to 1,000 subscribers. Now, the thing is, right, you can say what you want about the FDA, its regulations, all of that, but the real truth is you don't know what exactly you're getting, right? The problem with you not knowing exactly what you're getting is that, you take something, and when you don't know, anything can happen to you, right? I've learned over my time, right, that when you take things and you're not well researched or do, something, it can really be catastrophic, right? And the reason why I say that is because, when you don't have the knowledge or the insight right into what you're taking, they can put anything in there and you not really, you really don't know, right? And the problem with you don't know is if they put something bad in there, maybe you have a negative reaction, you're going to be in trouble, right? And even unrelated, right? I had taken a supplement a long time ago, and I actually ended up messing with a ton of things going on, a nervous system, just the whole 10 yards, turned my life upside down, right? So that's not to say supplements are terrible, but you just have to do your research on them, right, before you go ahead and take something. Now, another issue that's coming up with, consistently taking something like this is, people talk about heart attacks as well. Now, say what you want about heart attacks, but if that's a potential from something that you're taking, is it really worth the risk at the end of the day? I mean, that's something you'll have to answer. But personally, I don't think that would be worth the risk. Now, it also just, makes me also question, and I think this is one of the biggest things, the mental aspect, right? So if you think of an athlete, for example, right? An athlete trains, they focus on, the physical and also the mental. They have to believe in themselves, believe in their ability. And a lot of times, right, we see performance in athletes, and there's a huge portion, the majority of the difference that's made between these different people is how much they believe in their ability, right? LeBron is who LeBron is because not only he's, physically insane, right, but also he believes in himself so much and has that actual evidence, right? Over and over again, him scoring points, and now he's on his way to retire, right? But then you have the other side where, okay, think about someone consistently performing, right? And wanting to make sure they get it up, right? The problem with you taking something, right, is that when you don't have it and you're in one of those situations, I guarantee you're going to question and have this little voice in the back of your head that's actually a voice of doubt, right? Making you wonder, am I actually going to be able to get it up, right? And that is going to cause so much more damage than you think, right? Because you've been reliant on, the honey packs for so long. And of course, it being like an online internet trend as well, you see and you're relying on these things to, okay, to perform time and time again, right? Like the guy was saying, every single time he was taking one of these. And then when you're in a situation where you don't have it, you're going to be in trouble, right? You're going to be in trouble. And it's just unrealistic for you to be able to take one of those every single time, and probably not healthy either, right? So in order of what we have to do about it, right, we have to go down to the underlying cause, right? And I think this guy who was in the interview, I believe he was a rapper, right? Let's just say he was a rapper. So what you can imagine is this guy probably was already living a super unhealthy lifestyle, right? Because the lifestyle is everything when we're talking about how you perform. All of this, right? The output that you get, the results that you get are just a reflection of your inputs. That's it. Very simple, right? So if you want to improve and not have to rely on these external, artificial factors that could give you heart attack and all this craziness, especially when, of course the age varies, but according to the demographics, it's around 25 to 34-year-olds on watching these videos. That's insane, right? At that age, you should have no problem, right? So one of the best things that you can do, and even I've been experimenting with, and I talk about it, right, is sleep, right? Sleep is the natural healer of the body because, it gets all the toxins out of your brain. You detox your body, helps you relax and recover. And what's interesting, I've kind of been experimenting with this as well, is going on morning walks, right? It sounds like it doesn't really matter. It's not going to do anything. But I'm telling you, you get up, right? You try to get as much sleep as you can. You wake up, try to get your 8 hours, then go outside and get a morning walk. I'm telling you, it's one of those ones. Because what's interesting is I started to track my sleep as well, right? I have one of these Oura rings, or if you want to sponsor, feel free. But have one of these rings, and I started to notice, and this is an early experiment, but I started to notice that when I would get morning sunlight, and specifically, not even morning sun, specifically walking in the morning, when I tracked my nighttime sleep and just overall recovery, I actually was waking up less in the night. And I'm talking about a huge difference. We could talk about like 10 mini wake ups to maybe 1 to 2, max maybe 4, which is a huge reduction, right? But when we're talking about, performance, right, and we're looking at the input, sleep is absolutely one of the most important, right? And that just goes to show how important sleep is, right? Because of course sleep, if when you get proper sleep, your testosterone is in place, right? You're feeling like a man, right? Your body just performs, your brain is performing at its capability, right? And then it makes me start to realize how important it is for us in our modern society to try to take the things that we can from ancestors and how they lived. Right now, of course, people were waking up when the sun arose, and that's not realistic for some people. If you're lucky enough to be able to stay in and sleep a little bit longer, but it's so important to get that morning sunlight. It just gets your body ready for the day. And I'm telling you, even in my own personal journey, I'm starting to see how important the lifestyle is to everything. Now, of course, we always talk about the corn and even how corn can play a factor in it. And think about when someone is using a performance, enhancer as well. Then you have, also in the back of their mind, or even, another, piece to the puzzle there is, if they're using these performance enhancers, then sometimes you're watching corn, sometimes not. It's going to be impossible for you to actually figure out how to improve your situation, right? Because you have too many things going on at one time, right? So if you can limit or even eliminate, right, the corn use, right, your brain is going to be optimized for your performance, right? And that's just as important, right? So it's the lifestyle, it's your habits, right? You not watching corn, because of course the corn and the dopamine and all that are just going to have you completely messed up, right? So it's just so important to do the small things that will help you get to the next level, right? That most people are not going to do, right? Most people are not going to go to bed at the same time, try to have a wind down routine, right? Get the morning walks in, right? Most people are not going to do that. And that's why you have an insane, and obviously, quit the corn or even limit it. And that's why you have such an insane skyrocketing number of, especially young men on the younger side, dealing with these type of problems, right? But the good thing is, for a lot of people, you're able to solve this naturally, right? By really taking inventory of some of those habits. But it's just insane to me when you really think about it, that this problem is only going to get worse, right? And then you have things like AI now, right? And that's a hot topic. And of course, you see all the things going on with AI, but specifically in this industry, I'm telling you, there's going to be more lonely men than ever, right? Because AI has now, and it's only going to get better, right, has created the artificial stimuli, and it's gone up even higher, right? Because what's going to happen is, you're going to have men with these virtual partners, right, in virtual relationships, and they'll do anything that you want them to do on the screen, right? And the problem with that is, in the past, right, someone would have to dig for things, but now, right, things are going to transition to where a dude can create exactly what he wants, and that's going to make it even harder, right, to be able to break free from, the corn and the addiction and the PMO and all of that, right? So the best thing you can do is take that action now, right? And not wait and think that things are going to get better, because they're really not, right? The technology is only getting better, and they're just finding better ways to manipulate you and exploit you, right? For everything you got. You see these OF models, man, talking about exploiting, right? They're making millions and millions of dollars, right? Because men don't have the control over their lust. It's that simple, right? And they're willing to pay for that, right? And a lot of them are probably lonely and don't have, the connection in real life. So they just are chronically online. They spend all of this money, and then you can't be happy about that situation, right? So it shows the direction society is going, but that also means that there's an opportunity for men more now than ever to stand out from the crowd, especially if you're not doing those things, right? And you can get, things under control. I'm telling you, you are going to separate yourself from the crowd for sure. Now, if you learned something new from this video, man, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. And if you want to learn more and join this squad, subscribe to the channel and click this next video on the screen to learn more about controlling lust and improving your performance.